How's it going, guys? This is Rio Murata, photographer based in Tokyo. So I finally got my sofa made in Japan. Get the green color. But this isn't a video about my sofa or my room tour. It's more about film photography in general. And unfortunately, I can't talk about my sofa, but you guys probably have thought that the Pentax 17 video was the climax to my Osaka trip. Fear not, I have more for you. A GW690 camera. I actually brought it to Osaka's Commemorative Park, located on the northeastern part of Osaka, roughly 20 minutes away from Shin Osaka station on a monorail. And I wanted to basically visit this area in particular. And if you guys probably know, 1970s Expo, aka exhibition, was a significant time in Japanese history due to a couple of reasons. One is obviously the resurgence of the Japanese economy, which, if you guys probably know, we kind of lost World War II. We were torn into shreds. However, 1970 was a turning point for Japanese citizens and the economy as a whole. I'm an economy major dropout, unfortunately, but I basically need to tell you guys that that area in particular was significant for photography wise because color negative films were started to spring out. Although it was like introduced in the 1930s, it became popularized around the 60s and 70s, along with more consumerized sort of like cameras that were developed by various sort of like camera companies such as Nikon and Canon, and maybe Pentax too. But I just really wanted to visit this Commemorative Park because it sort of like signified that 1970s Expo turning point in Japanese history, and also sort of like a prequel to the video that I made earlier this month or last month or so when I visited Okamoto Taro's memorial facility in Omotesando. Back then I shot with a Voigtlander 27mm because it was really dark. I shot with digital. However, this time around, because this private park is sort of like in the outside type of area, I brought my GW690 Mark III with the Kodak 200 film stock to shoot around this area. And yeah, and as a fellow Japanese, this is a sort of like a must-go location because I really wanted to visit it. Yeah, so. And you guys probably might be wondering, why am I clutching a cushion right now? It's damn cold in Tokyo, so yeah, bear with me on my journey to Okamoto Taro's, aka Osaka Commemorative Park Expo of 1970s. couple of areas that I would sort of like fix if I could is obviously the sort of like a shot where there was an old lady sitting on the far left bench, and on the right side, far right, there was sort of like the statue, the famous statue, the symbol, the iconic idol of the Osaka Expo 1970, Okamoto Taro's sun god, which perfectly aligned with the Ferris wheel actually, which was built later during the years. I kind of wish the sort of like the old lady would sit on the right side of the bench instead of the far left. Then balance wise, I guess composition wise, it would make sense, because right now that image in particular, the center, is sort of like isolated, kind of really sad, you know, in a way. So if she kind of kindly moved to the right, I guess it would be a better photo, but I'm a good person. I don't force people to sit where they would want to sit. So that's an area that I wanted to point out. Like I said, the 1970s was a symbolic sort of like era during the historical Japanese history-wise, because like I said, color negative films became mainstream around in the 60s and 70s. And I have to sort of like mention that that was actually sort of like the era where more of the camera manufacturers start to make cameras meant for the consumers. And I have a list right now. The Nikon F was roughly released in 1969. The Auto 35 was 1964. Nikon FT FTN was 1965 to 1968. Nikon F2 was 1971. On the Canon side, it was like F1 that came out in 1971, and the AE1, which my grandfather possessed, was 1976. So, and the Nikon EL came later in 1972, which was, I guess, a hit back in the days, because it had program auto, and film cameras were sort of like more towards the consumers, which they didn't have to like manually like take the exposure to shoot a well-composed image, but more like if you let the camera meter for itself, just press the shutter and you will get a really nice photo. So this was sort of like that turning point in history of film photography wise. Yeah, that's basically it on my coverage of the Osaka Expo 1970, aka the Commemorative Park located in Osaka. It was one of the areas that I really wanted to visit. You know, as a Japanese, every person should visit that area because it is a historical location and also a great location to like learn about the historical backgrounds of Okamoto Taro and also that 1970s expo, which mostly was shot in not black and white, and color negatives. And like I said, there is actually a pavilion located in this area that basically has an exhibition of 1970s documenting everything in color. So if you guys are interested, I highly suggest going there and just feel that sun god looking down on us. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, found informative. If you have any questions, I'm happy to reply. And yeah, it's so comfy to sit on a sofa instead of an office chair. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace out.